Welcome to New Game Plus. We are a retro gaming podcast where three guys spend 7 days playing one old game and then we talk about it. My name's Dustin.
My name is Kenny.
Nolan.
And this is episode 338, and we are still in our summer pool party. Are you guys having fun?
I've been having fun, and I'm going to continue to have fun.
I was supposed to reapply sunscreen last week and forgot.
Yeah.
So I'm a little toasty, but I'm going to put some on now. We'll be good. We'll get
I
through
think you're the guy that burns with the highest FPS. You seem like a burn kind of guy no matter what.
Yeah, I am. I don't.
He
I
probably
don't
wears
play
a
that game,
wide
though.
brim hat.
Yeah, I like dress for the sun eating my
That's
soul.
smart. The sun will kill you.
Sun is very bad,
Yes.
and we're here to tell you about that. So today we're going to be talking about Captain Planet and the Planeteers.
No.
Okay, let's do a quick dive report. We all have one dive. We're going off the diving board into the pool. Okay. What are you doing? What's your dive, Nolan?
Jackknife.
Okay, you're jackknifing into that
I
thing?
think I can jackknife.
Kenny?
Oh, I'm just doing a classic cannonball.
I knew
Yeah,
you.
That's probably what I would really do.
Here's the thing. Here's a little bit of Dustin lore we've never talked about, and I would imagine both of you know. I don't
You're
know.
lying.
I've got a perforation in my right eardrum, and so I've got to either stay above the water or have like some wax to prevent the water from flooding into my ear hole.
I didn't know the last part. I knew you had that problem. I didn't know you had to like be strategic about the pool.
Yeah, well, and so that's why I either don't get in the pool or I'm not strategic about it because I'm not doing that.
I've never
anymore.
been in the same pool as you or body of water.
If you take a plastic bag and just put it over your head and just
Right.
wrap it real tight,
And tie it
let that
off
do the
with
trick.
a rope. Yeah, that's what scuba divers do.
I'm doing a belly flop, so.
No.
Okay.
Why? To impress? To get laughs?
Well, I've got six packs, so when I hit the water and it's red, everybody will be looking at my muscles.
That's the class clown dive, a belly flop.
All right, we're gonna play a game that we played before. This is called Keep Burn Remake. It's been a while.
It's in 2 weeks.
It's been a lot more than 2 weeks.
3
Do you even
weeks?
remember the first time that we played it? What games were on the game?
Ocarina of Time,
KBR.
Portal, and Chrono Trigger.
Those were the 3 games.
Look at
correct.
that.
What did you say, Kenny?
I said KBR because this is a game that everybody knows, and you can use the shorthand.
Yes. All right. KBR. Keep Burn Remake. This time, your 3 games are as follows: Banjo-Kazooie, Super Mario World, or Castlevania Symphony of the Night. You can keep one, you can burn one, get rid of it, or you can remake one.
This one's easy for me.
Then go.
Okay, burn Banjo.
Idiot.
Like for sure, Banjo is on fire. He's burning to a crisp.
Got it.
All right, we
Got
did
it.
It's
Got it.
thematic. And I would keep Castlevania Symphony of the Night and remake Mario.
Okay, interesting.
Those could go either way though. They're both great.
Okay. Burn Super Mario World. I would keep Soten, and I would remake Banjo.
I don't know if there's a bad answer here, but neither of you gave it, and so I won't either. Mine, I
Soten.
believe, aligns with Kenny's. I'm going to keep Symphony of the Night, I'm going to remake Super Mario World, and I'm going to burn Banjo.
A remake of Super Mario World would be trash.
Yeah, I might
That
change
game's
my
already
answer
insane.
on that one. Remake Symphony of the Night. Like that has so much more potential for a good remake without like offending the first one.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I like
either.
the,
It's a hard
both
question.
of those are so perfect already. It's like
All I know is I would burn Banjo.
They've remade some of the Mario games. They may have even remade Super Mario World. I'm not as familiar with some of those.
It came
Right.
out on Game Boy Advance, and it had maybe some differences, but
Boy
not enough
Advance?
to call it a remake.
Doesn't count.
It doesn't count.
Yeah.
It doesn't count. None of those count.
No, and by the way, even if a game has been remade before, there's going to be games on here in the future that are going to already have remakes. You get to
Yeah.
remake it how you want it.
yeah,
you get to
Ocarina of Time
remake it
had
to
one
your
technically,
degree.
and we still, yeah.
So okay, well, so Kenny and I are burning Banjo, and Nolan, you're burning Super Mario World. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, because there are a lot of better Marios, and I'd be fine without it.
Like, would there be better Marios without that one?
Yeah.
Which is not even the question because you're burning
not
it
the
at
question.
this point.
No, yeah, this is not a time travel question.
I'd
Yeah.
play
You didn't
Super
go
Mario
back and
Brothers.
murder your own grandfather.
Dark.
I
I would play Super Mario Brothers 3 before I play World. I'd play Mario 64 before World. So that's my answer. That's why I chose to burn that one.
Okay. All right. Like I said, I'm keeping Symphony of the Night, remaking Super Mario World, burning Banjo, and going back in time and killing my grandfather, I guess. If you at home would like to play along, then simply crash into our Discord, join the team discussion in our latest discussion channel, latest episode channel, and hey, you'll be off to the races. Like in our retro game of the week, Crash Team Racing.
Overview.
Crash Team Racing, stylized CTR, is a 1999 kart racer. Pause. What separates a kart racer from just a racer?
Easy.
And is it just the kart?
Yeah, it's you're in karts and
Okay.
the weapon system, like the combat of it all.
Okay.
There's some vehicular combat in there.
But it's not a vehicular combat genre.
No, because that's an
another genre.
arena-based. That's an arena-based racer.
Okay.
And these are tracks.
Or not racer. Maybe not even a racer.
Maybe not even a racer,
typically.
but these have 3 laps, so it's a racer. You're in a cart,
Okay.
and you have weapons. Mario Kart invented it, right?
Do you have to be in a cart?
No.
Which one isn't, though, Kenny?
I mean, you've got options in Diddy Kong Racing to not be in a cart.
I
Yeah,
don't
but they're all
know.
kart-like.
Yeah,
or
they're all carts, but
kart-esque.
they're not carts.
Okay.
Here's what it is. If you can
Yeah?
see the driver, if the driver's bigger than the vehicle, it's a kart racer.
I love that one. All right, if the driver is bigger than the vehicle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kart
That's
racer.
good. Is Jet Moto? No, it's not. That's just a racer. All right. Y'all
even know
probably
what that
don't
is.
even know that one. That's what I grew up on. It's a racer. It's great. In the water. We have played 2 then other kart racers on the podcast.
Couldn't name them.
Mario Kart 64
Okay, I kind of remember.
and Lego Racers.
Oh, yeah.
I believe those are 2 kart racers, and I believe those are the only 2 that we played.
I think you're right.
If you're listening
That sounds correct to me.
and I'm wrong, correct me in Discord. This game is for the PlayStation. It was developed by Naughty Dog, published by Sony Computer Entertainment, and we played some of their games before. We've even played Crash Bandicoot on the podcast before,
The first one.
the first one.
Yeah,
Yeah, not
and
this
I
racing
don't
game.
remember it at all.
You don't remember it. I grew up playing Crash Bandicoot. I think, honestly, and I'll say this, and it will be interesting to know your opinion because you're outside of the Crashverse, Nolan.
Yes, and I have something to say.
And
But
Kenny,
you-
are you outside of the Crashverse?
I am. And I'm
I-
choosing to stay out.
I'm inside the Crashverse. Remember, during this time, there were so many companies that were trying to create their own Mario or Sonic.
Yeah.
And the majority of them are either okay or bad. I think Crash is a remarkable, not competition, but attempt to have a successful and remarkable attempt to have that kind of iconic character that is different enough, but cute, lovable, and can carry its own IP.
I wouldn't argue with that.
No, I wouldn't either. Like, when I think PlayStation, I think Crash. That's the character for the console, which is a big deal. Only a few companies pulled that off. Only a few. Sega did it. Naughty Dog did it, and then Rare did it. And I have here that I'm new to Crash, because I have a theory. You're either a Crash guy or a Banjo guy, not
Okay.
both. I don't think you're
And
both.
I was a Crash guy.
Even if you owned both consoles, I don't think you're both.
Am I allowed to be neither?
Yeah, but we know
yeah.
that you
hate Banjo for
existed
some reason.
before the dawn of time and before video games and all of that.
I was obviously the N64 boy, but that said, I've loved discovering Crash recently. I'm playing through Crash 1 right now, just like, every once in a while I'll sit down for a session, and I'm loving it. I love the character. So it's been fun to, like, be older and discover Crash as a character.
So this is the genre is kart racer. So it's a a standard kart racer. You think Mario Kart, you think Diddy Kong Racing. This is very comparable to that. You're racing around on a track, generally speaking, and you are racing against other contestants in the derby, and you're picking up powers that you can use to slow down or stop your competitors, and you're hoping to come in first. There are different game types and game modes. We'll talk about that, but basically, you are driving around trying to come in first.
Yeah. You ever played Mario Kart?
Racers.
That's what it is.
That's what this is. There is a story here, though, because there is an adventure mode. There is a story mode.
Yes.
Which there is not in Mario Kart 64.
No, Diddy Kong Racing
No.
started that.
There's not in Diddy Kong Racing, and I'm pretty
there's
confident there
not?
wasn't one in... is there one in
I
Diddy
think
Kong
there's
Racing?
something like one. Yes.
Okay. Diddy Kong might have been the advancement there.
I think so.
But it wasn't incredibly standard at this time.
No, it wasn't.
Especially in the Mario side of things. So there is a story. It's not. I mean, it's a kart racing story, so it's nothing to write home about.
Very little.
There's an alien named Nitrous Oxide. It's very creative. Who shows up to Earth, I guess Earth, claiming to be the fastest racer in the galaxy. And instead of everyone on Earth simply saying, "All right, okay." Cool.
Who cares?
He summons Earth's best drivers to show up for a survival of the fastest.
And it's
You say that
Crash.
You can't just ignore an alien threat. He was planning on turning Earth into a parking lot or something apocalyptic. I forget. There was punishments. They had to step up.
It was something like that. But I don't know if Crash and his friends had to show up. Like, Dale Earnhardt Jr. or somebody.
They didn't know who was the best, and so you got to figure out who's the best so that you can send them to fight for you.
So
it sort of makes sense.
You send a little polar bear baby and a little cat baby to compete against the aliens?
If they're the fastest.
Okay.
You got something against babies?
Yes! In races?
I'm better than him at everything, yeah.
Gameplay.
There are a ridiculous amount of modes and race types in this game. I would say it's overwhelming if any of them were required. I think what we all played was adventure mode, and I think that's probably the main draw of the game in the first place. Mario Kart obviously is the versus mode because that's all it is, but adventure mode is something interesting, and the fact that you only have to get first to get boss keys and then progress is simple, and that's how it should be. You don't have to do the 30 different modes, and so I exclusively played adventure mode, which there are race types in adventure mode that vary, so it's not all the same thing, but I was like, what's battle mode, time attack, which is normal, but then it keeps going. There are 3 versions of each one.
There are a lot, but I think that's a good thing. I think you want to give all the sort of options of gameplay. Somebody might sit down for a quick 5-minute sesh before running out and catching the bus in the morning and wants to just do a time trial. Somebody may be playing on their own and want to do the story mode. You may be playing this on your PlayStation as an alternative to all your friends that have the N64, and you want to do some multiplayer because that's where it's at. There are a lot of modes, you're right, but I don't think of it as a negative thing. I think
No,
of
I
it
guess
as
I don't either.
Robust thing. This game gave everything that it could that all other good kart races before it had done, and just piled it all together.
2 or 3 of those modes are multiplayer, and so we won't be able to talk about that extensively, at least in this episode, because I don't think that we got the chance to do that because
Right, we don't have friends.
We don't have tons of that's not how you multiplayer your game anymore. Couch co-op or couch
It's dead.
experiences
It's
are
dead.
not the same.
Yeah.
Although we did a few weeks back, and that was
And it's still dead, even after
and
that.
it's but we loved it. It was so good.
Absolutely, it just never happens.
So this week, we primarily spent our time with adventure mode, which is story mode, but really it's just walking through the different areas, competing in different races, collecting different trophies, keys, gems, crystals, all of these things
Yeah.
in the races and progressing. What's unique here immediately, what I found out is that I was in an open world hub. Not open world. That's ridiculous.
Hub world, baby.
A hub world.
Yeah, you got a hub.
Yeah.
And
Also stole from Diddy Kong.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why this is interesting. Yeah.
I haven't played Diddy Kong Racing. I've seen a lot of comparisons this week, and I've heard really good things about Diddy Kong Racing.
Sure.
So I've looked at kart lists before. In fact, I think I even said this on the last episode. And Diddy Kong is sometimes up there at the top, even surpassing some of the Mario stuff. If not, it's right after. But also Crash has been up there as well before.
Yeah.
So I know that, and we'll talk about it more and more, that Naughty Dog borrowed heavily from these other games.
Absolutely.
But
I did not know the hub world was one of those things, so I find that very
it is.
interesting.
I'm
really
glad it was
seems
here.
To work. It really seems to work for the Diddy Kong thing now that I'm thinking about it, because Donkey Kong Country, all of those things are those kind of like worlds that you kind of go
maps.
in between. I guess all of
As
these
is
games
Crash.
are. Mario is as well.
I'm telling you, that's like you were either one or the other. That's the thing. It depended on the console. But yeah, the hub world here was what it should be. I really enjoy hub worlds in kart racers, which there aren't a ton. Diddy Kong Racing, which we'll keep saying, but I'm really glad it was included, and it adds a layer of choice in the game. You're still going to go through the same, like, we probably all played in almost the same order of like races and maps, but you unlock more tracks as you play tracks. And so I really love the feeling of going back to the hub world and be like, all right, what do I want to do next? It's really, really nice.
Yeah. It also works well as a way for them to drop in story beats, for them to give you like tutorial information on, how to do things without having to like force you through some of that. They can just sort of like sprinkle it into the experience of like that hub world and those interactions. And so that works nicely.
Nolan, you have a problem with the tutorial?
You
I don't like
have
that mask.
Aku?
Yeah.
No, I like that character. The characters, there's two of them. I think a lot of them were unnecessary. When you get to like the second area in the hub world and even the third one, I expected those to stop happening because he was telling me the same ones, not the same ones over and over, but things that you would figure out and like by now for sure.
And if you haven't figured it out by World 2, you're not winning races.
You're not winning races.
How
Exactly.
did you get there at that point? Yeah.
The helpful ones were about the different collectibles, because when you first like when you're looking at a world. Also, I just a quick note about the hub world. I was thinking Gex a lot this week. Gex had that hub world, and you could see
with the different
like,
TVs that you
the
can go
TVs.
into.
Yeah. Anyways, so you can see what's available in that stage, but you'll get first place in that race and be like, I still don't know what those things are. So when he told me about relics, the coins, the CTR coins, that was helpful. But everything else, I was like, dude, I get it.
Yeah. So the first time you go through the race, it's just a standard race, and you've got to come in first place. But then you're expected to revisit that location and do a different kind of experience or race. You mentioned the CTR relics. You have to race, get first place, but while you're doing it, collect the letters C, T, and R that are spread throughout the stage.
KONG.
Oh. And then you can also collect these purple crystals. Those are not races, correct? Those are just like it's certain environments that you have to, within a time limit, collect these crystals.
I loved that mode.
That was cool.
I really it's an arena style. It's no longer a track. It's an arena. There are crystals everywhere, and you have a certain amount of time to get all 20. And I failed over and over and over until you develop a strategy. And you're like, okay, I know an optimal path here, and I really enjoyed that game type. Anyways,
yeah, it was cool. I think that you can get through the entire game just doing the races, though.
You can, yeah.
Okay. So if you want the extra characters, extra stages, extra whatever, that's where these other the revisits come into play. Yeah, the collectibles come into play, and I respect that.
Yeah, it's good to have that in this genre, because otherwise Yeah, all you have is get first place and beat the game, and then that's it. It's nice to be able to go back like Mario 64 to a painting you unlocked a door, you've progressed, but if you go back to a painting that still had some stars and like try those, I really like that style of progression.
Yeah, lots of replayability and justify some of the other content types. You know, you kind of rolled your eyes a little about how many there were, but like,
Yeah.
get unlockables as you beat the time trials and various versions of it. And so they included rewards for going deep and wide, and that's really wise when you want people to get the most you can out of your game.
Can we talk about boss fights? Boss races, not fights.
You're fighting for first place.
You're fighting for first place. I don't like them. They're kind of a joke. Like, I hate the spam feature, and the rubber banding is just straight up offensive here. It was either a joke of a race or God reached down and touched my PlayStation and allowed me to win. Those were the two race types I felt in the boss fights. Dude.
I strongly disagree. I think one of the things that this game has going for it is that it's got excellent rubber band and AI mechanics. And I do understand that bosses are a lot more tricky than your normal race, but I think in both of those, you can't get too terribly far behind. I think the AI will slow down for you to at least be able to make it a competition. The bosses are more challenging, and they each have one spammable item that they're able to throw out.
Terrible.
I think that first crazed dog that you race is throwing out, what is he throwing out TNT boxes, or is he throwing out those little potions?
The potions, and then the
potions?
next guy's, well, or maybe it's TNT. Yeah, it's like TNT and the potions, and no.
And you got to get good. What are you talking?
I beat the game. What are you talking about? I'm good. It's just I hate it. The races are fine. I can nail the race almost first try, almost. With like some of the latter stages being a problem, but the boss fights are just no, they're not fun.
They're bosses. They're supposed to be hard.
I like the variety. I like that you have a challenge, that they didn't make it super easy, that it feels different than a normal race, that it feels like you've kind of moved to a thing, and once you get past it, you get your next sort of chunk of content. So it worked for me. I get some of your complaints, Nolan, but overall I liked it.
It's not changing the gameplay. It's just making it unfun. You said it changes the gameplay.
Why? Because it's hard?
No, it's artificially hard. You can't... I'm telling you, this, like... You get ahead, right? You can't stay ahead. Any other game where you're, like, doing a challenging fight, you'll at least stay ahead if you play perfectly. Like, if you hit your power slides, which we haven't talked about. And this game, it's really weird. But you have to master that. But even if you play perfectly, they'll get in front of you and start spamming. What is that?
You do have to create. You can't. You're right. You can't just race well. You have to also use well the
to play dirty
items.
Yes.
The items that you find on the map. And just like Mario, just like what I assume Diddy Kong is, you're coming across these boxes, which is just great. It really works in the Crash universe because like Crash is all about crashing these wooden boxes in the actual games.
Yeah, it really works.
In this game, those are the ones that have the power-ups, and I even think all the power-ups work, and they are all found in Crash games. And I like, you've got the mask that protects you and can take out an enemy if they're hit by it. You've got those TNT boxes, which were classic for the Crash games. You've got these other things, but you do have to rely heavily on those with the boss levels when you don't necessarily have to rely on those, or really even throw a single one in the common races as long as you're racing well.
We didn't talk about it, but you're not just collecting power-ups. You're also collecting fruit, which was kind of a nice sort of additional thing to have to look for and think about, and wasn't like revolutionary, but I found myself wanting to like get to my 10 fruit more than grabbing power-ups. Like, it was super important.
It's very important. It's coins from Mario Kart. I think Diddy Kong is bananas. But the speed factor there is like huge. It's you can be like, yeah, I'll get him if I come across him, but no, you'll notice. You'll notice.
You need to strategically get him. But I thought the thing that was cool that I don't believe happens in Mario, and I don't know about Diddy Kong, but not only does it put you at your max speed that you can go, but it also powers up your weapons,
Upgrades
the
weapons,
collectibles.
yeah. Super cool.
I like that. About the weapons though, Dustin, I didn't feel a solid spread of options there like I do in Mario Kart, where they do a great job of giving you both like offensive and defensive options, and they can be interchanged. A banana can be used offensively and defensively.
Yeah, I do love that. Yeah.
In this one, there are 11 options total, and that's good. Like, that's fine, but I don't know. I only felt like 3 to 4 were like super valuable, or like I found myself being excited I got them. I don't know. The strategy wasn't there for me. They fell a little flat.
I wouldn't have minded a little more variety. They could have added 2 or 3 more, but it's not like it was only a handful of items. Like a dozen is pretty decent.
I mean, but the power up at 10 was sick. I did think that was a cool little addition.
And I agree with you. I think there could have been more utility with them. My comment was simply on using items from the Crash game. I think it just so natively works well. One of the things that I hated was not being able to hold on to those items. I've relied so heavily on that with Mario now that like holding them right behind you as a defensive mechanism. And or I don't want to release it yet, but I want to be able to get the next one, and you can't do any of that here, and I hated that.
And you can like drop it, and something that's targeted on you will like, it'll hit that and it'll be defensive, but it's harder to do because you can't hold it. And yeah, like prepping for the next one too. I don't know. I found myself relying more on getting fruit and being faster and better at power slides. Let's talk about power slides, because it's weird.
Yeah, they're big. Oh, huge.
It's the biggest mechanic. In my first play, I realized that something was going on, but I couldn't. I don't think it would naturally click for anyone, because this is not a common expectation in other racers. The power slide is, but not the activation from that power slide.
Right.
So my understanding is that in Mario, you power slide and then you let that power slide go after a long enough time and you boost.
Yeah.
This
Pretty
one,
much.
You hold R1 to power slide, and you've got a little meter down there that fills up. Mm-hmm. And when it gets red, or when your flames on the back of your cart turn to black smoke, if you press L1 at that time,
it's so confusing.
Then you get a boost. The cool thing is you can do that 3 times in a row, and on that
boost.
3rd time you get a massive boost.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like it because it's different. You must master it, and it's not easy to master because it's so foreign. But besides the inputs required, I'm used to Mario Kart, and power slides are very easy in the game, and you want to start it when you're like tight in the turn. This game is so different in that you almost want to start it. It's the sharpest power slide, and you want to do it on a wider part of the turn, because you have to hit 3 boosts, and each time I'm like turning more and more, like where I'm almost going backwards. I never got fully used to it. It never felt comfortable. I did it. I beat the game, and you have to get used to it, but I don't know. And also, your input left or right when you land from the power slide, like hit R1, you do a little jump, and obviously if you hit R midair, then you'll start a right one. It's very strict, and sometimes I would power slide, all the time, I would power slide the wrong direction and have to like abandon it and start over.
It took some getting used to, but it was, wildly strong. I just like that it gave you something else to do. So many of these games, it's hold the button and go back and forth and just collect things and then shoot things off. And really, you're only hitting... Like, you could almost just tape that A button down and then go side to side. And so you're almost only hitting B and left and right in a lot of these games. Virtually. And it's so little. And this one gave you more to think about, and I just like that. I think the kart racers needed that.
The thing that is super cool about how they created this is that you can technically get through the entire game to the end screen without ever once pressing the accelerate button. Without ever pressing
I saw the video linked. I
yeah.
did not watch it. How?
I watched it. So someone in our Discord community linked this week someone that is really good and has mastered the art of this power slide. And they do have to use reverse to be able to get to like the first speed boost or hill to get some momentum. But once you do, on most stages, you can use the power slide mechanic the rest of the way and win the races, and it's remarkable.
That stresses me out to even think about. No, thank you. The power sliding I bet that I'm going to watch it because I bet they do it. I mean, they do it the whole time, but for us, you start to learn the stages, and there are certain curves that are like so primed for a triple boost, and you get used to that. And the stages themselves, I just want to say, were a highlight for me. I really liked the variety here. The obstacles were like clear, like there was no like cheap thing going on except for the plants in that second area. But everything else was like just really well done. And I like the snow area, and I like the mines. It was just good stage design.
Agreed on good map design. I will say the inspiration for some of the theming felt just as derivative in this as all of the rest of it does. You get the beach that is like pretty much the beach from the Mario Kart. Like there's a lot of areas that feel very similar to me.
Every kart racer has the
racers.
the same first stage.
Yeah.
But I think it works. All of these are actual environments, again, from Crash. You wouldn't know if you're not a Crash fan. But these are all like environments and themes from Crash.
Yeah.
Which, yes, you've only got so many themes when it comes to these platformers that then become kart racers in the first place.
Yeah. I'm not holding it against them at all.
We didn't even talk characters. You start with 8 available, and then you can have up to 15 by the end. Even bosses, which are fun, because when do you
Love
get
that.
to... Yeah, that's really cool.
It's a lot of unlocks.
And of course, each character has their own like strengths and weaknesses and whatever.
Yeah.
Which character did you race with most?
Crash.
Yeah.
It was just Crash. Yeah, I didn't really play anybody else.
I didn't play Crash. I did one of the neutral vehicles still that were balanced. I
You did
think I did
Cortex.
I don't know his name. The big head guy that was just one.
Mad
from
Scientist.
Crash. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's a major villain.
He's a bad guy.
Yeah.
I probably played the most of Crash because I wanted to test it with Crash at the beginning, and then was completely flabbergasted that you cannot change your character mid-adventure. You have to start the adventure over. No, I think that's insane.
No, there are other modes if you want to try other characters.
Which I did, but they should allow you the flexibility to change it. I believe that you can in the remake, which we'll talk about. But
Crash and Dr. Cortex are not going on the same adventure. They're enemies.
Well, Crash, I'm just saying Crash is not the optimal racer here. There are far better racers. Crash is he's balanced, but he's not great at
So is
any one
acceleration
thing.
the best stat? I have a theory that that's the best stat.
Speed. Definitely speed
yeah.
is the best stat because...
Those are different things.
In this game, they're the same thing, nerd.
They're not. You have a speed, and you have an acceleration, and you have a turn meter. Those are
I meant
different.
speed.
How quick? Yeah, speed is, I think, the thing you want here.
Yeah, you've got to be the fastest on the track, and that's how you beat it. So, which
it's a race.
I didn't expect. I didn't care about stats as much as I cared about that cute little polar bear. And so after I played Crash for enough time, I just stuck with that polar bear the rest of the time because adorable.
Yep.
Aged.
No multiplayer makes Crash a sad boy.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
I don't know.
Kart racers are meant for multiplayer action.
I don't see. That's why I think they're mid as a genre. And yes, I include Mario Kart in that. I like adventure mode more than I like being so angry at my friends.
Well, don't get angry.
It's impossible because the way they've designed these games, where you've got an item that is one-hit KO, let's call it, where if you're doing well and you're in first and you're just faster than everybody else and you're taking the turns right, and nope, you lose. Take that L, go home, bozo. I've never... Anyways, I was fine without multiplayer.
I think it's more doable than Mario Party. The way that that's set up, where you can be the best at everything and then lose it all at the end, is not okay.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, that's the thing with party games. It's like, stop being so nice to the loser. Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, blue shell kind of mentality.
Blue shell vibes, exactly. That's what I was
I'll
talking.
just tell you, I would never denigrate myself to use a blue shell.
Yes, you
I'll
freaking
carry
would.
it. No, yeah, I know. I definitely
you would easily.
But I agree with you. I mean, this, I know it is a hot take, and people will have opinions.
They're gonna be
but
mad.
kart racers are mid, if for no other reason, because they rely so heavily on multiplayer.
Yes,
Like,
except for this game.
this game would be. No, but they do give you more option to have more fun as a solo player. Yes, I'll tell you this. It was more enjoyable this week to be able to play in adventure mode than to be stuck with Mario Kart 64 by myself for all week. I remember when we played that, and it's like, I'm just, okay, well, I'll do the next
Great,
location.
let me just do this over again.
They do okay at the single player experience, but I think Mario Kart is reserved for multiplayer, and this and Diddy Kong Racing are more single player games. I mean, obviously can be played multiplayer. We didn't get to that. Sucks. However, I can't hold it against it too much because they've invested in a story, an adventure mode with a story.
Let's talk about the tracks of the tracks.
Let's talk about the tracks of the tracks.
Although on theme, there were no noticeable tracks on the tracks from the Crash Bandicoot games.
Listen to me.
Yeah.
I look in not spin-off, in spin-off games. In spin-off games from main series and like kart racers in particular, I look for a vibey track that doesn't fit in the normal series. Like in Mario Kart has some really vibey tracks that don't fit in Mario mainline games. And in this one, it was on theme, yes, but none that I was like, man, that's a banger. I agree with you.
Case in point, you guys remember that level in Mario Kart with the train?
In Mario Kart 64?
Yeah, in Mario Kart 64.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one has tracks on tracks on tracks.
Stop it.
Did you see how like he wanted to do it while you were talking? So like he
was trying to interrupt me with that.
I was waiting so long.
With that. Okay.
But like you don't want to add, you don't want to contribute.
He was like, "Oh yeah,
No,
music's
that's
good,
a
by the way."
great contribution to the quality of this podcast.
I don't know.
There were no tracks. No tracks were bad, but there were none that I was left humming. And
Same.
on a game like this where you're doing loops around a track, you want those tracks to be catchy and vibey and good. And again, these were fine, but none of them were like, man, none of them had me still thinking about that after.
No Mute City track from like F-Zero.
Oh, F-Zero.
Yeah, I agree.
Mid,
it was good.
As Nolan would say.
It was fine.
Mid.
It was fine.
Mid?
It's mid. Graphics also were like kind of loud. So PlayStation graphics, not bad. Better than in 64 typically. This was good. I actually like the graphics, and when you go in with the expectation of PlayStation era graphics, I think they actually did quite well. This did come 2 years after Diddy Kong Racing, which was an N64 game. So I enjoy the graphics.
I'd agree. Good for the era. I don't think this era future-proofs well. Like, I don't think they're objectively good graphics. I think for the hardware they had to work on, you look at this game and you go like, okay, yeah, it looks pretty nice given everything else. I don't think anybody's looking at PlayStation games from this era and being like blown away. And so especially playing it, sort of retro style, I just sort of like take my lumps, and the less annoying it can be, the better. And this one didn't annoy me. It looked clean. It portrayed what it needed to do. So I don't have any complaints here, but I don't think that it's like good graphics.
Well, so my argument is this: most kart racers, especially retro kart racers, don't pride themselves in stellar graphics. Like, that's not the highlight of the genre. I get more modern modern Mario Karts and different things like that are great, but like all of those kart racers from around the same era, none of them are just the most beautiful, stellar things. They're sharp, they're polygonal, and things look a little bit blurry, but as long as, I think it's in these games, as long as the tech is there, as long as it feels good, then yeah, and you can see what you're doing, you know where you can like you're able to find naturally some of the like
secrets.
I can never think of the secrets. Yeah, what
side
are those
paths,
called?
like shortcuts.
Shortcuts. I really couldn't think of shortcuts. Then that's what we're looking at, not the graphics as much, in my opinion.
Yeah, back to the point, and we've said Diddy Kong Racing a million times, but it's we have to, because it did come out 2 years after, and I think Naughty Dog saw that, the success of that, and said, oh, you actually can compete with Mario Kart, because let's face it, Mario Kart was owning, I mean, since SNES was owning that genre, they invented it more or less. So they tried to do it, and then a fun fact about that, in the development of this game, in order to see if the PlayStation was capable of doing what they wanted to do, a Crash Kart Racer, they made a replica of the first stage from Diddy Kong Racing, and like they made the replica to see if it worked on their hardware. So that's obvious because we've made so many comparisons. But I think it's good to do that. They did have to cut corners. Like I think they had to make the wheels 2D sprites instead of 3D renders. So like it looks like a tire, but it's just a sprite. It's just 2D because you have so many of them or something. But all in all, I think they succeeded, like you said earlier, in taking a mainline character and just making a kart game for the series. It's like that can stand against the competitors.
Well, and I think it also, what ages just well in the handling and mechanics is that this came out in what did we say, 99? Yeah, 99.
Yeah.
In 97 is when the DualShock controllers came out, and those were some of the best controllers of the time and still today, where you have dual analog sticks for control. You've got vibration feedback. All of that just felt so right and future-proofs today, because on modern controllers, it's about the same, you know? And so, like...
Does this game let you use DualShock? I didn't know. Oh my gosh. I was using D-pad, which I liked. It was fine.
Yeah, D-pad is fine.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so I just felt like the handling and the mechanic aspect of things, it ages well, because it came out in a time where it used the hardware and the extended warranty hardware to do things really well. There is an indirect sequel called Crash Nitro Kart, came out in 2003. I do not think it was received very well.
Yeah, I think it was on GBA or something.
Crash Tag Team Racing in 2005. So 3 Crash games. And then very recently, 2019, they remastered CTR, calling it Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, and updated, but it's a remaster. So like is it a remaster? Yeah.
Probably,
so they like graphic overhaul. They added some characters. I think
Quality
Spyro is a character that you can drive with.
Do you have that in front of you? Is it on PC? I know it was on like Switch, and
I'm pretty sure it is.
I think it is too. I'm interested.
It was on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch.
Oh, so no. I'm interested to play it though. I mean, after playing it this week, I'm sure it's pretty nice.
I've heard really good things about it, but I've also heard a few frustrating things, like they changed some of the
stage layouts. That would be
some bad. Of the like handling and stuff. They tried to they changed it, which makes the player coming from the original to this.
The purists that loved it
throws it off.
Don't want you messing with the feel of their baby.
The jankiness. It is janky.
Like, update the graphics and stuff, but hands off the handling. Let it be the exact same, even if it's janky, you know? You can get a copy of Crash Team Racing for your PlayStation for $11 used. Some of our listeners did that this week. Brojim found a copy.
I saw Brojim picked it up.
$90 new.
Affordable, y'all. That's good.
Go get you a couple copies.
Go get you a game.
Final thoughts.
At the end of each and every one of our episodes, we determine whether or not the game gets our vote for New Game Plus status, which is our general thumbs up or thumbs down. It does require 2/3 of the votes to swing one way or the other. Kenny, since you are the godfather of kart racing and New Game Plus,
Right.
Yeah.
why don't you start?
Sure. Kart racers for me, also mid. Like for some people, they're everything.
mid.
They're not the nostalgia bomb for me that they are for some people, and I think they suffer a little bit as retro games. I don't think they future proof as well. Partly because couch co-op, but partly just the genre itself. So I don't know. They shouldn't be because of their simplicity, but they seem to not future proof really well to me. I'm also not the biggest Crash fan. And playing a kart racer on the PlayStation did feel kind of odd too. Like that's not where you go for your kart racers. It's not. Like you're not going to find a lot of competition there. And so it was a lot. However, regardless of all those complaints, this is a pretty solid little title. It doesn't do a lot that's revolutionary. All it does is refine and add a few things that have already been done. But it brings them to a console that didn't have them before, which is really nice for PlayStation owners back in the day. Nothing revolutionary, but it's a really well-crafted game. It's fun overall. Not my personal preference on like genres, but that shouldn't take away from the fact that it's solid and fun. So an NGP because it deserves it, but not an overwhelming one because I have bad taste or something.
Just say no NGP.
He said,
Okay, well,
yes.
you go and
I know, but
keep it to 3 words if you want.
It's
That's
like,
not the point.
It sucks, but NGP.
All right, Noli Poly.
Like Kenny, kart racers are not my favorite genre, though I do like one every once in a while. I like a Mario Kart. When you can experience it in a party setting, and that's what they're meant to be, is party games, you do lose a sense of what it plays like. However, and this is the reason I fought you earlier, the inclusion of an adventure mode in this game and in Diddy Kong Racing, which this game reminds me of, is a great thing. And I'm able to play this alone and enjoy it just as much, if not more, than I would with other people present. With the existence of a remake, I wonder if it's even worth playing the original. But since I haven't played the remake, and since I did enjoy every gaming session I had until I beat the game this week with the original, I'm giving it MGP.
Cool. And we've talked about Mario Kart and we've talked about Diddy Kong Racing almost as much as we've talked about Crash Team Racing on this episode. What Crash Team Racing lacks in originality, it makes up for in quality. And I think it is a fun game. I enjoy playing it more than Mario Kart for some of the reasons we mentioned.
Yeah.
I can play it by myself and have an enjoyable experience. I like the handling. Yeah, some things aren't as good. Okay, the power-ups. I agree with Nolan on that. I think the power-ups are fine, but the power-ups are not where this shines. It's all in that boost mechanic and really controlling that. It's in the boss battles. You don't get that in Mario Kart. It's in some of these other things. And then with an IP that I already know and am familiar with and love, I just think it's such a valiant effort on Naughty Dog's part to come up and try to do something like Nintendo and for their own console, and to be able to nail it this well. Naughty Dog and Nintendo, those are not comparable companies.
No.
And Naughty Dog was able to do what Nintendo already did, but they did it with excellence.
Yeah, they're
and
OGs.
It's a lot of fun. So I think Crash Team Racing definitely gets New Game Plus status, which means that Crash Team Racing is New Game Plus certified. But what did you think? We had 302 votes on YouTube. 67% said yes, 9% said no, and 24% have never played it.
67's high.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very
That
high.
may be the highest. That may be the highest numbers we've ever had of yes, no to haven't played it. Like people had loved this game.
At least in recent months, this is
Yeah.
one of the more like yes, you know.
Yeah.
We had a lot of people write in. Can't include all of your thoughts right now, but would love to include some of them. Super Gamer Guy said, "What's not to love about CTR? Amazing controls, the perfect drifting system, perfect,
Perfect no.
Quality level design, charming animation and characterization. The list goes on and on. Sure, its soundtrack is a bit muted, and the graphics are par for the 32-bit polygonal course. But those are merely minor nitpicks to what a fantastic kart racer this is. CTR clearly shines best in its multiplayer courses and battle mode, but its adventure mode still holds a good challenge for players seeking a more robust experience. Though CTR might fall just a little short of something like Mario Kart 8 DX or Diddy Kong Racing, it still holds its own with the best kart racers of then and now. Rest in peace, Mario Kart 64. Long live the Bandicoot.
I agree.
CTR is in Gen Plus certified.
I don't know about that one, but I agree with the destroys Mario Kart 64 comment. And as you were reading that, I'm like, okay, yeah, arena battle mode. For sure, multiplayer. That would be so much fun. Racing against friends is not as fun as being in an enclosed space and hitting them with something. Like, okay, I would have done that.
Nobilis said, this week I returned to my childhood with CTR, and maybe it is nostalgia, but this game is still a lot of fun to play. Redoing the adventure mode, I noticed how the game eases you in with easy races and Aku Aku giving hints and teaching you the control step by step after a race.
Too many.
From World 3, the real racing begins, and you will need all your skills to keep winning. This all is fun with the smooth controls, fun courses, and a lot of modes to play in. Maybe not as groundbreaking as Mario Kart, and definitely not a game and definitely a game that took a good look at Diddy Kong Racing, but taking from a great game gave a very fun racer for the PlayStation. And the fact that you've got a hidden demo for Spyro 2 made the package complete. Definitely NGP for me.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Lucky said, I remember getting my hands on this game for the very first time. I was excited to finally have a kart racing game for the PlayStation since I could only play Mario Kart when I would go over to a friend's house. Call me biased, but I immediately loved it way more than Mario Kart, and here's my reason why. Mario Kart was the fun, family-friendly kart racer that really did what it came to do perfectly. I loved it and enjoyed it for that, but I didn't realize until CTR that it was missing something for me. The drift controls that I heavily preferred from CTR. Whereas Mario Kart had a decent drift/boost mechanic, I felt like CTR's gave me further control. It was like having your first manual transmission vehicle. It gave so much more control to the player. I spent years mastering the mechanic, and if any other kart racers didn't use the same mechanic, I would immediately be dissatisfied from there on out. The game locked me down as the best kart racer for just that mechanic alone.
That's a lot of love for that mechanic. I don't love it. I think it's novel. I think Double Dash, Mario Kart Double Dash, like that drift system, which is basically the same as they've always done, is perfect. It's kind of janky for me to call it perfect, but
the more time I spent with it, the more familiar I got with it. It felt good, but it's hard because you've got to find the areas where you can drift and make it around the obstacles.
You have to learn the map,
while holding the drift.
Yes,
It's
for sure.
tough. Kenny, that green cart that you used to drive, that old green cart that you sold, was it manual?
My pickup truck?
Yeah.
That cart, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Oh.
Interesting. And then finally, Clint said, CTR is great. Sure, it's essentially the same game as Mario Kart, but with different characters. But the thing I think is extremely notable is I found myself comparing it to Mario Kart this week, but not the N64 game. I found more similarities to Double Dash on the GameCube with how smooth the controls are and how unique the stages are. This game was ahead of its time, and I find it a little bit hard to believe it's a PS1 title, not a PS2 one. It really stresses the console's limit in the way that games like The Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima did for the PS3 and PS4.
Double Dash goated, yes. I didn't really see the comparison. I see more 64 here, just in looks, and certainly not PS2.
Do kart racers enjoy Double Dash or 8 more?
I think 8, and I'm least familiar with that, but I've heard it's very, very good.
Thank you for sending in your thoughts on the Retro Game of the Week. You can do that each and every week to ngppodcast@gmail.com or stop into our Discord. We've got a commentary channel there. We'd love to at least try to include your thoughts as a part of our show next week. For now, we're going to set aside Crash Team Racing, and we're going to randomly select, but not from our extensive, expansive Retro Master list, no. Because
in the pool.
It's time for another Patreon poll!
Adult Swim?
Yeah. Do you think kids listen to this show?
I don't want to think about that.
Sure.
Oh, can't think about kids. Well, we are going to be selecting from a much smaller list of games that have been submitted by our patrons. We've been doing a summer pool party, and it's been a lot of fun. We've talked about it a lot. And there is going to be this opportunity and one last opportunity for the summer. Isn't that what we discussed?
That's big. That is what we discussed.
One last opportunity. So if you're not yet supporting us on Patreon for at least $5, then do so now so that you can be a part of the last pool of the summer. But for now, we're going to randomly select from this list. We've got games on here like The Bouncer. That's a PS2 game submitted by Repugnant. Shauna submitted Final Fantasy IX and Advance Wars for the GBA. We've got Paper Mario Wii and Super Paper Mario Wii.
That's old
Is
enough?
Wii a part of it, or is that just a console, huh?
It's just a console.
Garlisle, Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney for the DS, as well as an Advanced Wars game. We've got a couple Fables, but again, overwhelmingly, we've got Cave Story up in here.
Really?
They really want us to play Cave Story.
Oh, that would be so good. I want to play through Cave Story again. Please.
Well, let's see if you get your wish.
Please.
Randomizing now. We're going to be playing a game from 1995.
Promising.
No, that's not what I wanted.
Came out first for the PC.
Double promising.
Maybe it is what I wanted.
It's a fantasy real-time strategy game.
I'm out.
Okay.
It was developed by the beloved company Blizzard Entertainment.
I don't wanna. Is this
And published by
95.
Davidson and Associates. Kenny, do you have a guess?
I have a guess.
I don't. I mean,
Nolan,
they
what's
made a
your guess?
lot of
Warcraft.
real-time strategy games. I'm trying to place when that is at 95.
The game was submitted twice by Kippo and Captain Protein.
Okay.
We are going to be playing, for the next 7 days, Warcraft 2 Tides of Darkness.
Okay. It's
Sick.
gonna be a controversial
Yes.
episode. I think.
I don't care about anything. I'll play all the Warcraft
care
games
about
except the
anything.
remake.
We
We won't talk about the remake.
I do have a quick question because
Okay.
Captain Protein, specifically in his Patreon submission, said BattleNet Edition. What is that?
That's the newer one, no, Kenny? Like the one that you can play. Like, it's still the old game, but you through a BattleNet account you can play it instead of having to like get the original copy in some weird way.
Most likely, I'm not sure.
Okay.
It's one of those games that was like that has had
Legacy.
continued support,
Yeah,
even though
it's
it's like a real legacy title. And so
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
there's
yeah.
ways to still download the client today
Got
and
you.
play it on modern
Yep.
systems.
I think that's
believe.
what it
We'll have to do some research.
Warcraft 3 is
Either-
the one that people like freak out about, but 2 I don't know much about. I mean, it's obviously a starting point for something very big.
2 is largely hated by me.
By you. Interesting.
I have no idea. I just
Oh.
wanted to be contrary to Kenny. I
So-
feel like Kenny loves real-time strategies and Warcraft in
No matter
particular.
what.
So
Yeah.
Some of your favorite gaming moments have come about
from the
via
world,
Warcraft 2.
from the world of Warcraft.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know
Remind
what you're
me.
talking about.
We'll get into it.
We'll talk about it.
Are
We'll
these
talk
Zerg
about it.
rushes?
I'm a Zerg rush
Oh,
you if
that's
you don't
the
end
wrong
this
game.
episode.
Stop! Don't.
All right,
talk
that's
again.
StarCraft, huh? All right,
Yes.
find a copy of Warcraft 2
That's silly.
Tides of Darkness and play it along with us this week.
Discord.gg/new game plus.
Thanks to those of you that it was so short. Nolan was just so brief. I didn't know what
right.
to do with the extra
That one's
time.
not on you, Kenny. That one's not on you.
Liar.
Thank you to those of you who support us on Patreon. We appreciate it. Enabling our summer pool party, enabling food on our tables. I don't know. What do we want to say? Appreciate it. Shout out to Indar, Jumper, Dominique, Lyrica, and Pedro for becoming patrons for the first time recently. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Shout out to Tao becoming our newest producer level supporter.
Big.
Yeah.
Nice.
He joins a wonderful list of people, including Adam, Marlene, Antonin, Ben, Brunt, Captain Protein, Dan, DH, Bowser, Francesca, Gimbin, Jared, Joey, Jordan, J. Robert, Justin, Clint, Nick Nack, Corey, Maximum, Mr. Lattes, Nawal, Sage, and Shauna, Thomas, Unbedavable, William, and Zion. Of course, we want to give a extra big shout out to Brojim and Garlisle, our director level supporters. You guys are the chlorine in our pool.
It's a freshwater pool.
No,
Ooh,
it's
a
not.
freshwater pool? No,
That
it's
exists.
not.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
saltwater
but that's not
pool.
no.
Saltwater pool.
We're a normal swimming
Salt.
pool with
Salt.
chlorine in it.
It's a saltwater pool.
You
I
can
don't-
follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube. You can find all those links in the show notes. Listen directly on any podcast provider of your choice. Make sure you subscribe so that you are the first to get new GP episodes. And while you're at it, please leave a kind rating and review. This video episode was edited by our friend Dylan. Our audio episode was edited and produced by our friend Dan Willett. Join us next week as we play Warcraft 2. Until then, I'm still... What's the polar bear's name? Polar?
Polar.
I'm excited about this game this week, and also chlorine in the pool, boy.
I'm going to play Horizon Zero Dawn instead of Warcraft 2.
Mistake.
And this has been New Game Plus.